Unfortunately, this tank is going to be a very big case of you versus the guy she told you not to worry about scenario, so let's get right into it.
And don't you stop the music, get into it, won't you dance with me? Find the bass and lose it, you can do it, won't you dance with me? Move your feet and feel it in the space between. You gotta give yourself a moment.
So what is going on, guys? It is your boy Garage Gaming here, and today we are looking at the XM-803 prototype. Now you're probably like, this tank looks very familiar, what's this? Well, essentially this is the downgraded MBT-70, so obviously the United States didn't really want to give up on their super tank just yet, so what they ended up doing is they used a lot of measures to reduce the cost. The main thing is the engine has been tweaked down and the autocannon is noticeably absent, replaced by a remote 12.7mm machine gun, so a 50 caliber. And a lot of you are probably wondering why this was. Well, in real life the 20mm autocannon was very expensive and complicated. Apparently it used to jam a lot, so I mean, you can see why they got rid of that, but you'll notice that the top of the vehicle, when you see the images of it, are very absent of any kind of sights and just other things, so yeah. So compared to the MBT, this thing will be very lackluster, although it still might be a capable vehicle. I'm not too sure about that, honestly, so let's get right into the devlog. So it states the XM-803, the second chance. In short, the prototype was based on developments in the MBT-70 project, sporting spaced armour, a 152mm cannon combined with launcher capabilities, firepower of both conventional and ATGM munitions, and even more powerful engine. Well, I don't get that. The engine's actually weaker. After the unsuccessful joint MBT-70 project, the American Congress approved funding for the development of a cheaper version of the MBT-70 called the XM-803. Though it failed to save the concept of the MBT-70, fans of US ground vehicles could look forward to the introduction of the XM-803 in-game with War Thunder's upcoming update 1.79. And the history tab reads as follows. Once it became apparent the MBT-70 project was doomed to fail in the early 70s due to high costs and reliability issues, the US Congress decided to cut their losses on the project by cancelling the MBT-70 and instead diverting funding to the development of a new project called the XM-803. The XM-803 was, in a sense, envisioned to be a budget version of the MBT-70. Although the new vehicle would be heavily based on the MBT-70, inheriting many of its design solutions, it would also try to drastically reduce production costs by using more conventional and only American-made parts. Although this meant the XM-803 had to give up some of its high-tech equipment in favour of lower production costs, it was projected that the influence of these changes on the XM-803's combat performance would be minimal. Despite showing favourable performance and seen as a promising design by the Army, the XM-803 remained a comparatively expensive tank to produce even with the applied changes over the MBT-70. Moreover, neither the MBT-70 nor the XM-803 seemed to offer any substantial increase in combat performance over the already in-service M60 pattern to justify the high production costs. This ultimately led to Congress cancelling work on the XM-803 only a short while after the cancellation of the MBT-70. In the late 1970s, some funding of the two failed projects would later on find its way to support the development of an entirely new, but this time round more conventional tank project. That tank would of course be the legendary M1 Abrams itself. In War Thunder, the XM-803 will make its way into the game as part of the upcoming update 1.79 as a brand new researchable MBT available to all tankers at the 6th rank of the American Ground Forces tree. By inheriting many characteristics of its predecessor, players who already have unlocked and played the MBT-70 will unlikely find new surprises with the XM-803. Nonetheless, that doesn't mean the XM-803 doesn't have its own set of unique attributes that will differentiate it from the MBT-70. Yes, it's actually worse. Interestingly, the main reason for the closure of the MBT-70 project was its incredibly high cost, with one vehicle costing the equivalent of about $7 million with modern conversion rates. The XM-803 wasn't able to save much in terms of budget. Production costs were only about $100,000 less. It's not really worth it then. As the general layout and design mostly derived from the previous MBT-70, players can expect comparable protection and mobility levels from the XM-803. Although both the XM-803 and the MBT-70 used the same engine, the former had its power output reduced by 250 horsepower, resulting in a total horsepower output of 1,250. As a result, future commanders of the XM-803 can still expect to reach the high top speeds of around 40 miles per hour or 64 kilometers per hour, but this time it'll take the time that it will take to reach that top speed will be slightly higher than that of the MBT-70. In terms of firepower, the XM-803 still retains the XM-150 gun launcher system as found on the MBT-70, firing identical ammunition choices. However, if you consider yourself a fan of the MBT-70's roof-mounted 20mm cannon, we're afraid that there's some bad news ahead. As an additional measure to reduce the MBT-70's complexity and production costs, engineers decided to remove the retractable 20mm roof-mounted cannon and replace it with a simpler, remote-controlled 50-caliber turret above the commander's cupola on the XM-803. Be sure to take control over the final iteration of the MBT-70's design coming in War Thunder as part of the upcoming update 1.79. Until then, stay tuned for the news and the latest information on War Thunder's next major update. At ease, tankers. So, there is something that I find really odd about this vehicle, and that's like, this thing comes after the MBT-70 historically, but where are they going to place it in the tree? I will demonstrate here. So, like, here's the MBT-70, right, which leads on to the M1 Abrams, and what I don't really see working is, you know, are you going to put it in a bracket with the MBT? Is it going to come before or after? So what's going to be the bracket first? Like, you know, I assume you'd put this vehicle in the bracket with the MBT-70. They're literally developed from the same vehicle, but if you were to put the XM-803 after the MBT-70, it's inferior in every way. Why would you want to play it? If you put it beforehand, then, you know, you've got to grind with that to get the MBT. So that's what confuses me. You know, are they going to do it chronologically, like historically, or just based on vehicle capability? I'm not sure what they're going to do here. Like, I really don't see any point of this vehicle. And honestly, that's the whole thing. I don't see a point in this vehicle, so I'm probably not going to play it. I might get it, I'm not too sure what I want to do yet. I'd rather get an SPAA and all the other interesting vehicles first, so yeah. Just another downgraded monkey model tank. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. It's been your boy Garage Gaming, and I hope to catch you guys next time. See ya.